Good morning, everyone. This has been a fairly, is that okay? Monumental effort. And I can't tell you how proud I am to be standing here in front of you all as pretty much an extended family. This is a big family reunion for a lot of us. It spans multiple facilities, multiple observatories, multiple buildings, thousands of visitors, hundreds of graduate students, hundreds of staff, of which you're all some. It's been a pretty crazy effort over the last 6 months by a lot of my staff to get things together, and I hope that the 3-day celebration is going to be just right. Now, HAO is, of course, more than just a building. It's about its people. And if you take a chance to wander through the museum next door, you'll see some beautifully prepared posters with pictures of you all. And of course, don't take offense if you're in the black and white pictures or the color pictures, because we all know everything was better in black and white anyway. And so really, HAO is embodied by you all. As a family of kindred spirits, eager to explore the mysteries of the sun and its connections to our planet. You know, we've been building, cultivating, and delivering things for 75 years. That in itself is pretty staggering. Of course, the slide didn't transfer. Everything from understanding the magnetism of our star, putting chronographs on donkey back or horseback up to Climax Pass, or Fremont Pass up at Climax. A lot of the things that we're going to hear about in Tom's speech today, building the Advanced Stokes polarimeter and getting into vector field measurements of the photospheric magnetic field, building complex multidimensional models of the Earth's upper atmosphere, all the way to the magnificent MHD simulations of Matthias, Mark, and Yuhong that were demonstrated last night, if you had the pleasure to see them. Now, I'm not going to show this movie, but it was something I stumbled upon. I think it was actually Tom Bolton that sent it to me. It was a Pathy newsreel of what? At the Climax chronograph, this was pretty staggering to watch. The evolution of prominences back in the day, and they actually talked about the relative insignificance of our little planet relative to the majesty of the sun. And I think, had I be able to, let's see if I can play it, if it will work. It won't work. And of course, none of the slides came over. That's part of the wonder of not using your own laptop when you do these things, and probably my penalty for not checking them out beforehand. But I just wanted to draw your attention to the magnificent schedule we have in front of you. Today, we have a couple of keynote presentations, one by Bruce Lights on remote sensing of solar magnetism via polarimetry, and it really reflects Bruce's magnificent career in the field. And that's an acknowledgement by NCAR. Following that, we'll have a little reception. And then we'll have another keynote presentation by Tom Bolton, sitting over here, about the early years of HAO, and I've failed to hear that presentation or predecessors of it before, and I'm looking forward to that very much. There will be a much lengthier reception after that, from 6 to 8 p.m., where I hope you can all join me in some light bites and some beverages. Tomorrow afternoon, Congressman Ed Perlmutter, in Colorado's 7th District, will be here to give a presentation. I guess he'll talk about science policy. It'll be pretty interesting. And in the evening, Dr. John Grunsfeld, NASA's Science Mission Directorate, sitting in the front row here, will give a presentation over at the UMC, the Glenn Miller Ballroom. I think I expect that to be a fairly packed house. So if you're planning on getting over there, get over there early. On Thursday morning, we'll have Professor Sue Lepre talking about the Solar Orbiter and Solar Probe Plus missions that are coming up. There will be pretty staggering feats of engineering and scientific discovery. And then Professor Laura Waldrop of the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, talking to us about futures in miniaturization of hardware and CubeSat technology and how we can do big science with little instruments. So I think this is only, of course, a small subset of the agenda, but I think we covered all the bases. That's a bummer. So all those question marks are quite fantastic, including Tom Burger's brand new logo that he sent me this morning. This isn't just a milestone for HAO. This is a milestone for the National Geophysical Data Center, celebrating its 75th birthday too. The University of Colorado's Laboratory for Atmospheric and Space Physics, LASP, is celebrating 50 years after it was renamed. We have the Space Weather Prediction Center is celebrating its first space weather forecast in December of this year. And of course, we have our newest neighbors, the National Solar Observatory, who are celebrating their recent relocation to Boulder. So before we continue with today's events, I just want to take time to thank a few people. The UCAR President's Office for kindly funding a lot of the snacky doos and the drinks and coffee and basically making this happen. The NCAR Director's Office for supporting Bruce's presentation and several other things. HAO's formidable staff for helping put the agenda together. The members of the Boulder Solar Alliance for bringing us all together, especially tomorrow. Our keynote speakers, Tom and John, thank you. Congressman Ed Perlmutter, who's not here. The UCAR communications team and the UCAR archival team. UCAR Multimedia and HAO's CSMT for putting all the presentations together. We'll talk about this later. And the UCAR events team for basically setting everything up that you see in the room and out in the foyer. And of course, there's you. Of course. So, I'm not even going to, I should celebrate people individually. I'm not going to ask you to stand up, but these people went above and beyond to make sure that today was a great success. We have Joan Perkpile, Cheryl Shapiro, Andy Stenger, Greg Kopp, Tito Salas, Wendy Hawkins, Rebecca Centennial Elliott, Doug Duncan, Bob McQueen, Alice Lisinski, Joanne Graham, Greg Card, and Don Kolinsky, who should all remain faceless. Yeah, I want to thank you all. And just briefly, before we get going, and I introduce our first speaker, can you all stand up and shake hands with 3 people next to you and introduce yourself, please? Thank you.